And welcome to the United Stand. Jose Mourinho in or Jose Mourinho out on this Monday morning. But we've got to start off with some positivity, haven't we? Because it's a positive result for Manchester United, regardless of what anybody says. It is positive. It's a weird feeling to be going into a Monday with a good performance from United and a little bit of hope. And I've got no issue with people having a little bit of hope. But what I would say, if I'm asked an honest question, I'll give an honest answer. And in relation to Jose Mourinho at the moment, I think that how I would liken United's performance at the weekend and how I feel about Mourinho now is a bit like, I'm going to go into the drinking now because if you are somebody who's been a bit of a clubber, bit of a pub going person, maybe even whatever, it doesn't have to be drinking. I suppose it could be the local cinema, whatever, but I'm going to use a nightclub as an analogy here and say that the situation at United is a bit like this. You know, the nightclub that you've been going for years and years, that you really enjoy it, but over the last couple of years it's gone really crap and you don't like it anymore and it needs knocking down and it needs changing. Well, Mourinho's a bit like that nightclub that used to be really good. You used to go there, have a good night with your mates, pull a few sorts, have a good night, love it, and then it would keep you going all week until the following weekend when you were back there again, giving it large on the weekend. But over the last couple of years, that nightclub's become old, it's become tired. There's a couple of new nightclubs opened up. One's called Pep's Disco and Klopp's Great Night Out, whatever. And Mourinho's nightclub has sort of fallen away a little bit. However, this weekend, we thought, oh, sod it, we're going there, it's going to be crap again. Free drinks, loads of sorts, pulled them all, had a great night, and, we're sort of like, next week, Bournemouth, let's go back to that nightclub again. We might get a really good night out of it. And that's how we feel, isn't it? Long term, is that nightclub really what it used to be? I don't think it is. I think it was just they had happy hour. They were giving free drinks away. We all got smashed. And what happens when you've had a few drinks? Something that's not that attractive suddenly becomes quite attractive. And I think that's what happened. I don't think now I've sobered up, I don't think United yesterday were scintillating. I mean, I saw somebody saying, oh, United's going to win this game. United deserve to win that. In fact, I saw a tweet where somebody said the players won that game 2-1, Mourinho won it 4-0, because if Martial wins his one-on-one, Smalling doesn't give him the penalty away, we would have won that game 3 or 4-0, and Rashford had a chance one-on-one as well. And I think that's the sort of disbelief and idiocy that makes me laugh, really, because that is drunk talk. That is not sober talk. Sober talk is that Everton had probably about the same amount of chances that we had. They never looked like they were scoring because their finishing was terrible. I mean, Pickford was their man of the match because we actually tested him loads. But Everton had the same amount of chances. Their finishing was terrible. I don't think De Gea was ever any trouble. So it was a really good win against an Everton side that I think is good. And I was very pleased with United because I think previous United teams over the previous weeks against that Everton team probably would have got beat. I think if we'd played like that way against Wolves at home, we would have beat Wolves. It was a big step up from United and I did enjoy it. And some of the things I really did like, I mean, you talk about heat maps and things like that, but the things I really did like is that Martial obviously hogging that left-hand side. Pogba spent a lot of his time there as well. And that is something, obviously, we've spoke about a lot of times. When you've got Alexis Sanchez, it ruins Pogba. But it's the triangles that worked really well. The Shaw, Pogba, Martial triangle, I think, is why United, when they've played well this season, they do well. Because Luke Shaw, although he didn't have a great game against Everton, it was a good game. And he goes forward, he gets forward, he does the defensive job. Pogba with Martial, they've got a good link. And that left-hand side is sorted. I mean, the right-hand side's still a little bit weak. And of course, you've now got Lindelof as the left-sided centre-back. So that left-hand side with Lindelof, Shaw, Pogba and Martial is really, really starting to take shape. And then you've got another triangle here with Pogba, Fred and Matic. Now, Matic I didn't think had a great game, even though Mourinho singled him out as having a good game. I don't think he had a great game, but I thought Fred and Pogba, it's about tipping the scales, it's about tipping the balance, really. And what I liked about that performance yesterday, we'll get to the Mourinho out. A few people still saying Mourinho out, some people saying Mourinho in. But what I liked about that midfield yesterday is that when you get that balance, it works well. It works well. And you get a situation whereby we normally go top heavy. You've got a midfield three, so whoever the two are, they're going to win. Primarily over the last 8 months, you'd see a Matic and a Fellaini or a Matic and McTominay and Pogba on his own. And he's going to get outbalanced there because he's with two slow, pragmatic midfielders against Pogba, who is a very, dynamic, finesse, fast footballer. Well, yesterday we balanced it the other way. We had the slow midfielder, but we had two finesse, athletic, dynamic midfielders with Fred and Pogba, and I think that's why United played well. And we sort of spoke about that when the team news came out, and you can see it to my left here. When you've got that team, especially that front five, you start to think, can United actually perform badly? You know, yes, the manager leaves a lot to be desired, but a lot of the time he picks his team and you go, we're going to struggle. There's Fellaini in there, Martial's in there, Fellaini's in there, Sanchez is in there, Lingard's in there, Lukaku's in there. We're going to struggle because those players are struggling for form. But yesterday, you're like, Pogba, Fred, Mata, Martial, that's going to work. It's going to work. And then you've now got Lindelof coming into form as well. That makes us stronger at the back. De Gea's in goal, the best goalkeeper in the world. Luke Shaw's doing well. And suddenly, the balance is right in the Manchester United team. And I think that's what's working really, really, really well for us at the moment. So, yeah, I was very, very pleased with that performance. I'm encouraged. I feel excited. Look, I don't think any United fan wants to be negative. We don't want to be negative. We want to be positive. We want to win football matches. That's what Manchester United fans want to do. So I was encouraged by that yesterday. My big question is to you lot is, do you think he will continue to do that? I mean, bringing Lukaku on the hour didn't make any sense. It made that game a lot more difficult than it needed to be. I think maybe we could have got a third and maybe a fourth goal if we'd stayed how we were. Rashford didn't need to be taken off. What he was doing off the ball, pulling Zuma and Keane out of the place to give Pogba and Martial space and Mata space, worked really well. On the ball, Rashford's heat map was dead. He didn't do anything, but off the ball, he was pulling them around all over the place. Lukaku comes on for the purpose that Mourinho thinks that game's going to be 3 or 4-0, and he wants Lukaku there to get a goal, to get his confidence so he can get him back in the team. Lukaku comes on, we stop playing well, but he still gets a great chance from a brilliant cross from Pogba and misses the target. Lukaku needs to be dropped, properly dropped. Not giving him half an hour in a game. Drop him, keep him out the team. Stick that team against Bournemouth, and I'm encouraged, I'm excited. But long term, do I think Fellaini's going to miss out? No. When Fellaini's back, he plays. Will Sanchez be kept out, the best paid player in the league? I don't know. Will Lingard be kept out? And he's been very inconsistent. This is the thing that concerns me. And as I said yesterday, you can be a flip-flop. You can become Mourinho in, you can become Mourinho out. I think where I am at the moment is, if he went with this team for the next 10 games and this team's played like it did yesterday, you've got to start to think he's going to stick with this. But to be honest with you, even if we went and won 8 of our next 10 games playing this way with this team, there'd still be a part of me going, at some point he's going to go back to what he wants to do, which is Lukaku, which is Fellaini. And then when he does that, we become a problem. The issue he's got with Lukaku is, I like Lukaku, he's a good striker, but whenever you put him up front for us, we become static and easy to read. And that's what happened when he came on yesterday. His touch isn't good, he's not very quick anymore for some reason, and he makes us a very easy team to defend against, and that's the problem United have got there. Obviously, Fellaini makes us less dynamic in the midfield. I mean, Fred and Pogba were very, very good yesterday, and we were a handful. But the real thing where the game was won yesterday, and just very, very quickly on this, the way Everton lined up, they had a back 4, then they had a 2, then they had a 3, and then they had a 1. And what we did is we pushed Pogba and Fred forward onto their 2. Those 3 were on their back 4, and it made us have a situation a lot of the time where we had a 5v6, and it gave us a lot of space. And Matic dealt with their 3 very, very well, with Young and Shaw supporting, which meant Lindelof and Smalling only had 1 to deal with. So we sort of forced ourselves on them. Even though the formations were much the same, what we did is we pushed Pogba and Fred onto their Gay and Gomez, which allowed Martial, Mata and Rashford to occupy their back 4. Matic just had to deal with Sigurdsson, and then that left our back 2 with just 1 player to deal with, which was Richarlison, and Shaw and Young dealt with Walcott and Bernard, and it allowed us to push forward. So we pushed forward, and it wasn't really a press, it was the formation we played that allowed us to do it. And it worked really well for United, and it was a good performance. It was a good game. I enjoyed it. I was really, really entertained by it. Now, where do I stand on Jose Mourinho, in or out? I mean, at the end of the day, I think some of the... Look, I'm still Jose Mourinho out. I still think that he isn't the right manager for Manchester United. I felt that there was people yesterday saying that Mourinho deserves credit. He's done to Martial what he did to Luke Shaw. Tough love, and it's got him working. I choose to look at it a different way, because if Mourinho had his way yesterday, he wouldn't have been forced to drop Lukaku. He had to drop Lukaku, his boy, his godson, the player he says he never wants to drop, the player he doesn't want to play Rashford up front. He had to drop Lukaku yesterday because Lukaku is crap. And the fans won on that one. Lukaku is out of form at the moment, and Mourinho had to accept defeat and drop him. On Martial, he has to play Martial. Tahith Chong was on the bench on Tuesday, had no intention of playing him against Juventus, but there's nobody else because Lingard and Sanchez are out. I actually think if Sanchez and Lingard had been properly fit yesterday, Martial may not have played because of his poor game against Juventus. So people can say Mourinho's turned Martial around. I don't see that. I think Martial has saved Mourinho's job. Newcastle second half, Chelsea second half. Yesterday, he's been absolutely brilliant. He's got 4 goals in 3 games in the Premier League or something like that. Amazing. So I don't think Mourinho has turned Martial around. I think Martial has just been the player he is, which we've been on about for 8 months. That if you play Martial every game, yeah, he'll have a bad game here and there because he's a flair player, but he'll do more good than he'll do bad. And he's a very, very good player. Mourinho's big issue with Martial is that he never should have bought Alexis Sanchez. That messed us up in January, and we're only just starting to recover from it now in October because Sanchez has been injured and he's dropped Lukaku, and he's having to go back to that strong left-hand side of Pogba and Martial, which works really well. So I don't think Mourinho deserves credit for Martial. I don't think he deserves credit for the way we played yesterday because he had to drop Lukaku. I still think that Nemanja Matic is a big problem in that team, and nobody's really speaking about it, but I thought he had a bad game yesterday. I think he's been bad for 8 months, and I think, if you stuck Herrera there, or Pereira, who's God knows why he wasn't on the bench yesterday, we'd have a better midfield. But he's got this... Mourinho is still stuck in his ways, very much so, that, his insistence on playing Matic, on playing Lukaku when they're bang out of form, it will cause us problems. But I don't see how he can't pick that team against Bournemouth. And if he picks that team against Bournemouth, I think there's an understanding there, there's a fluidity there, that I think we will go and beat Bournemouth. And then you do that, you get another 3 points, momentum goes, you go into Manchester derby, anything can happen. I mean, long term, talking about Jose Mourinho and how long he might be at Manchester United, that is a question I think everybody sort of needs to have a think about. I think he's going to be here for quite a while now. I think what Jose does is the Newcastle game, he was probably going to get the sack if we lose that. We're losing 2-0 at half-time. We win the game, he stays. Yesterday against Everton, he loses that game and potentially he's going to get the sack. We win. It buys him another month, really. So even if we were to lose to Bournemouth and City, I still think he survives to Palace after the next international break, which we probably win because it's at home. So Jose will be around for a while. I still think he's going to go at some point, and I personally will not flip-flop on the basis of one result. I mean, you think about Bernard going around the goalkeeper at 1-0, that could have been 1-1. They had their chances, we won the game. I think home advantage helped us yesterday, and I was very encouraged by the performance. I think there's a lot to be positive there, and I think the one thing I would say is, look, I said it on the watch along yesterday, I'm not adamantly going to be Mourinho out forever. I never thought I would be Mourinho out. I backed him for 2 years. This year I've just had enough of it. I saw something yesterday that I thought, that you could build on that, but you've got to stick with those players, and you've got to stick with that midfield, and you've got to stick with that formation. When does Jose ever stick with the same 11? When does he ever stick with the same formation? So if he does it against Bournemouth, I'll go, and we beat Bournemouth, I'll be like, right, that's 2 down. Let's see how you do for the next few. It's going to take me until around Christmas time to come back to Mourinho in. It could happen sooner than that if we have some really good results, but I'm not going to close the door off and say I'm Mourinho out forever now, because he can win me back. He can win you back as well. But he's got to do something that I think is probably unachievable, which is totally rewrite what he's all about. I mean, only after the Juventus game, he's on about how much he misses Fellaini. He misses Fellaini. Fellaini's going to play in that team. Lukaku's going to play in that team. And that's all fine and well, but who comes out the team to let those two play? For Lukaku, it's Rashford. Some people might not be too unhappy about that. But Fellaini, it's going to be Fred. And if you want to play Sanchez, you're going to lose Martial or Mata. And if you want to play Lingard, you're going to lose Martial and Mata. And I think these are players that Jose wants to play. So yesterday was great, but, I don't think it's going to happen. And of interest, for those people who are Mourinho out, this is a little feather in your cap that I'm going to read out here. So Jose Mourinho, this is the last... Well, Moyes only lasted 1 season. Van Gaal's last season and Mourinho's current season, which a lot of people think will be his last. So Moyes, after 10 games in his first season here, he had... He was 8th position with 17 points, which is what Jose's on now. So Moyes had, after 10 games, had 17 points, and he was in 8th. Just like Jose is now, we're 8th with 17 points. Van Gaal, in his season that he got the sack, after 10 games, he was 4th with 20 points, so he's 3 points better off. Of interest, though, I didn't realise this. Jose Mourinho's first season here, we were 8th currently with 15 points. Last season, we were 2nd with 23 points, so we were 6 points better off than we are now. So, it's not been a great start for United. I mean, interestingly, Bournemouth are ahead of us, so that's a massive game on Saturday. But the tools... I felt that Jose Mourinho, yet again, like the Newcastle game, was in the last chance saloon yesterday, forced into dropping Lukaku, has to trust Martial, and the players deliver. He's got to continue doing that. In the end of the day, you can be Mourinho in, you can be Mourinho out, but the cold, harsh truth, as far as I'm concerned, is that Mourinho is in control of his destiny now. What happens because of him. Does he stick with what happened yesterday, which is positive, or does he go back to the things that don't work? And as I said, the minute you break that balance in the midfield three there, the minute you remove Fred and bring McTominay or Fellaini in, we become a slow, static midfield again. The minute you remove Rashford and put Lukaku up front, we become a slow, static attack again. And if he makes those two choices, we become Manchester United that gets played off the park by Derby and Wolves at home and goes to West Ham and gets beaten. If he sticks with that team that we saw yesterday, we could be the Manchester United that go to Bournemouth, who are doing fantastically well this season, and beat them at their place. We could be the Manchester United that go to Man City and get something, a team that's probably going to win the league. So it's on Jose. It's not on us. You know, you can make whatever decision you want to make, but the reality is the blame, if you like, or the future of this club, if you like, sit firmly with Jose Mourinho. He's got a massive decision to make now. And as I said yesterday, if he goes and changes this team any time in the next month and goes back to Lukaku and Fellaini, United fans, collectively, we can say, get out, because the team you picked against Everton is the way you should be building this team forward, and you've ignored it, and that team has already proved you wrong. Martial's got to play from now till Christmas. Every single week, on that left-hand side, Martial's got to play from now till Christmas. Pogba and Fred have got to be allowed to play every week, because you get the best out of Pogba when you put somebody next to him who plays like that as well. So that's what we need to see at Manchester United. Milan says, why don't we play Pereira? Look, I'm a big fan of Andreas Pereira. I'm a big fan of Eric Bailly. Neither on the bench yesterday. Mourinho spoke about entourages after the game. There's always a but with Mourinho when he's talking about Martial. He said, I'm happy with Martial, but it's about entourages and getting the best out of them. And I just think, why? Why do you always have to... All that's going to do is annoy Martial, because his entourage are going to be his agents and his friends, and they're getting slated by him. So why do you always have to do it, Jose? Keep your gob shut. Lucas says, Lukaku's just having a bad few games, or is he a flop? I think Lukaku will... Look, I think Lukaku is in a bad vein of form, and he's still a 30-goal season striker. It's not as simplistic with Lukaku. I think the problem with Lukaku is we'll never win a title with him, because his build-up play and hold-up play is poor. But he's good enough for us to get top four, and at the moment, he's just in a bad reign of form. But even when Lukaku gets back to his best, we'll still struggle to break teams down in the final third, because he doesn't spin and make the runs Rashford does. He's not capable of doing that, and his hold-up play and his first touch is not that good. Like Rashford, you can knock a ball into him and he'll flick it off straight away. He tried it a few times yesterday, it didn't necessarily work. But if you knock the ball into Rashford's feet, he'll look to lay it off and spin. He'll look to hold it up and find a pass very quickly. Lukaku, it's like watching in, triple slow play. It's like the ball comes in, control, get it under control, nearly trip over, pass it, and it goes behind the player. And you lose 3 or 4 seconds compared to what you get with Rashford. And speed is the essence in the modern game. That is what we need to see. Plenty of people watching. Please do drop a like on the video and chuck us some live comments in there as well. Sorry to everyone who's watching live. I know it was a little bit late, and that is my fault completely, but I struggled a little bit with setting up today. So apologies for that, and I'm still really struggling with a cough. So please do drop a like on the video. For some reason, we got loads of people disliking. I'm not quite sure why that is. I presume it's the Mourinho in crowd going, oh, why are you doing a Mourinho in or Mourinho out? So I'm going to say, if you're Mourinho out, smash the like button and sit them down. I mean, I just don't understand what they're on about. I think it's been a very, very equal show, looking at both sides of things and saying that you're a flip-flop if you're Mourinho in, if you were Mourinho out yesterday. I think, as I said, it doesn't really matter if you're Mourinho in or Mourinho out. The reality is, we won yesterday. As a fan base, we won. We got what we wanted. We got Martial. We got Pogba, we got Fred, we got Mata. Lindelof's playing regularly and he's doing well now. We got the team, we got Lukaku drops. That was our team yesterday. A lot of people were saying before the game that is this Mourinho that will lose without Lukaku, and then he'll come out in the press conference and say this is why Lukaku needs to play. I think that was a dangerous game for Mourinho to play, but he has done it in the past, and it backfired if that was the case. But then I think, well, if he'd done that, he probably would have got the sack anyway. So, look, I think the great thing about this is we're going into a new week with some positivity, with a good Manchester United performance. We've got Bournemouth on Saturday lunchtime, and we're going to be feeling excited and confident for once. It's a novel feeling for a United fan, but this is what we want to have every week. And the great thing is the pressure's on the manager, and that's where it should be, because he's got to pick that same team again. And if that same team plays again, I think it'll win again. And then he's got to pick the same team against City and Juventus. And I think that team again, will he? The thing is though, if he picks this team against Bournemouth, will he pick it against Juventus? No, I don't think he will, because he'll want to be a bit defensive over there. But it'd be interesting if he picks this same team again against Bournemouth, because we're away from home against the team that's doing well. Will he go so, pragmatically attacking, or will he just sit back? It's going to be interesting. If people are disliking videos because I'm late to the show, I think that's very, very, very insensitive, because you've got no idea why I might be late to a show, and it's very, this is meant to be a community. We're meant to support each other. So if you're disliking a video because I'm late, maybe you're on the wrong channel, because that, I've been late for many reasons before. I've had personal issues in the past, so I think that's very irresponsible. If the stream is set up, I will be going live. I might be 15 minutes late every now and again, but I've been doing this for over 3 years, and you know I'm going to go live when there's a live stream. So I think that's a bit very unfair, and that hurts. That actually hurts quite a lot, because we're not meant to be like that. So if people are disliking videos for that, I don't think they are though. I think the dislike count's going up because we've got a load of pricks in the live comments who obviously don't understand what supporting a football club's all about. There we go. Bournemouth are full of confidence and play great football. They will show if Mourinho has balls to set up similar, says Jack Coleman. I agree with you, Jack. I think that we are in a situation where we need to go and play on the front foot. Everton are a team that wants to play football. We had the Everton fan on Thursday night. They do want to play football, and they did try to play football, but because we went on the front foot as well and we pushed them back up the pitch, we won a game. And I suppose in many ways we probably caught Everton on the hop. Because I think if Everton had played the United that played against Wolves, with Fellaini in the midfield and Lukaku up front, they would have had a lot more of the ball. They would have dictated the play like most teams have. But yesterday we played in a very different way. We took the game to them as much as they took the game to us, and it was a very entertaining game. Very entertaining. Smash the like button, everyone. Let's see if we can get 500 likes while we are live. The Skype shows will be back, Jahel, but we're not doing a show at 8 o'clock tonight. I need to let you know about that. There's no 8 o'clock show tonight because I'm on That's Football doing, I would be watching City Spurs anyway, so people have said, will you do a watch-along on That's Football? So me and Marcus are going to do a watch-along for City Spurs tonight. There's no 8 o'clock show tonight because I would, and that's nothing to do with, why are you doing a watch-along for City? We've been asked to do that, but I wouldn't have done an 8 o'clock show tonight because I want to watch City versus Spurs anyway, because I was like, supporting United, you normally get crap football. We actually did get entertained yesterday, but I was looking forward to this game because I think it'll be good. Keep going, Mark. What's your best United 11, says the Game Face HD? Good question. I think my best United 11 at the moment is probably the team that played yesterday with a decent right back. I still worry about Ashley Young. I don't want Smalling long term. I think he's a good third choice centre back, but you're not going to win a title with him. So Smalling out and a centre back in, which would be Bailly for me at the moment. Matic out and Herrera in. And then the front three, I'm happy with. I think Mata, Rashford and Martial works quite well. I do agree with what a lot of people have said, though. I would like to see Alexis Sanchez coming into that front three. Certainly not in the Martial situation. I would like to see Sanchez coming in either here or here. And I do think there is a place for Alexis Sanchez in this team. The trouble is, it's always been at the expense of this miracle, and that's not the way to go. We've had 8 months of that crap. It needs to stop. It really does need to stop. I am going to do a bit of FIFA. Yes, Tyler. I'll be setting up and doing an hour or so in about 10 minutes' time. So that will be on That's Football as well. Mark Goldbridge, That's Football. A little bit of FIFA, I think, is good. City will win the Premier League this season, says Kayente. Well, I'd rather them over Liverpool and the only reason I say that is because Liverpool are my biggest rival as a United fan. So I'd rather we win it over them. If I'm honest with you. But anyway, look, thanks everyone for watching this lunchtime. It's been a bit of a difficult stream, so if you could drop a like on the video and support the community that we have, that would be appreciated. I don't hope it hasn't come across that well in the video. I've tried to remain upbeat, but I just feel a bit... I'm not going to go into why, and it's got nothing to do with wider pictures or anything like that. I just don't feel particularly good today, and obviously some people in the live comments have made me feel good. Some people have just made me think, why do I bother? But it's a personal thing. Too easy. If Mark gets 1,000 likes, I will give Mark €100. You don't need to give me €100, mate. There you go. But yeah, I would like to see Sanchez playing a bit further up front. And we've got to build a team around Martial. You play Martial week in, week out, and I've always said he can be as good as Hazard and Salah. That might sound ridiculously stupid at the moment, but I'm talking playing week in, week out for a whole season, and you see the Martial you get. 4 goals in 3 Premier League games. Imagine what we'll get. He could get 20, 30 goals this season from the left wing. And that's when you find out a good player, when they're doing it off the wing. Absolutely fantastic. Thanks, everyone. Speak to you all soon. And you can join me on That's Football for a bit of FIFA in about 10 minutes. Or you can join us for the watch-along tonight, Spurs v Man City. We've got Flex and Rants on here tomorrow at lunchtime as well. So get involved in the comments below as well. I must just say that. Are you Mourinho in? I wish I'd said it earlier. Those who are still here, can you please leave a comment below the video and say whether you're Mourinho in or you're Mourinho out and why? But also, could you come back from where you are at the moment? Could you become Mourinho out if something bad happens? Could you become Mourinho in if he continues with a certain way? And what is that? I just really want to get a gauge, because we can discuss it tomorrow night then. Where are you with Mourinho at the moment after yesterday's good performance? Where are you? Can you be changed? What do you think? Yeah, I'd love some of that. Thanks, everyone. Speak to you all soon.